What are we seeing in terms of infections in Shanghai and Beijing that's prompted these measures?
Well, Shanghai had 2 new cases yesterday outside of quarantine in local community transmission. Doesn't sound like a lot, but they're going for COVID-0, and they're trying to stamp out new chains of transmission by compound, residential compound by residential compound, so there's not a broader spread throughout the community, and therefore seeing the economic impact that we've seen from those 2-month lockdowns. So really no respite for the people of Shanghai. Even though they are free to go out and about, they are going to have to spend their weekends. Every single one of the residents, 25 million plus, will have to get tests every weekend. And it's even going to be more stringent for those at the front line, if you will, of retail and restaurants, employees at supermarkets, barbershops, pharmacies, shopping malls, and restaurants. They will have to have daily nucleic acid tests. Also, those who work at banks, gas companies, and industrial activities, they too will have to have daily tests, but the rapid antigen variety. So it's just more pressure, obviously, on the people living in Shanghai. The city is setting up tens of thousands of testing booths across many of the largest cities, of course, including Shanghai, to conduct these tests. So just more pressure on the people.
What are we seeing in terms of changes to Hong Kong's response to COVID?
Well, of course, in a week that we've heard that Carrie Lam would not necessarily be changing, loosening, or tightening the restrictions ahead of the handover of power to John Lee. We've gotten a couple of moves from Sophia Chan, the health secretary. The most recent one is they've changed the home quarantine requirements. Before, those who tested positive locally, not those who are coming in, could apply if their homes were suitable for home quarantine. Well, now they've tightened the home quarantine requirement, and essentially saying if you do not have access to an exclusive use of toilet in your home, meaning most people who have probably only one toilet in their home in their small apartments in Hong Kong, then they, if they test positive, will have to go to a government isolation facility. So yes, there is tightening on the home quarantine rules. This just after the same health secretary, Sophia Chan, announced that if you want to go to a bar or nightclub, you need to show a negative rapid antigen test within the previous 24 hours.